Prince Harry wasn't supposed to be on a jet that night. In fact, sources say he hadn't planned on returning to the UK at all this month. But everything changed the moment word reached Montecito that the palace had quietly begun the internal process to strip the Duke and Duchess of Sussex of their royal titles. Not rumors, not discussion, action. Insiders claimed that when Harry's team heard the news, the room fell into chaos. Phones buzzed, aides whispered, plans shattered, and while everyone around him tried to make sense of the situation, Harry made one decision: get me to London! Now, there was no time for PR spin, no carefully crafted statement, and no attempt to soften the blow. Harry reportedly refused all of it. He wanted one thing only: a face-to-face confrontation before the palace's decision became permanent. A private jet was prepared at record speed, and within hours Harry was in the air alone. No Meghan, no children, just a man racing toward the storm he had spent for years running away from. But here's what makes this even more shocking. The person Harry is desperate to reach isn't King Charles. It's William. And that tells us everything about where the real power now lies. For months, whispers around Buckingham Palace hinted at a quiet shift, a slow but steady transfer offer. Charles, battling illness and drained by stress, has allegedly taken a gentler, quieter approach to royal life. He avoids conflict, sidesteps tension, and leans into peace rather than confrontation. But William has stepped into a different role entirely. Insiders say he's no longer acting like the heir. He's acting like the king. Behind palace walls, staff reportedly refer to this period as the pre-accession era, a polite code word meaning William is already calling the shots. It's William who oversees crisis meetings. William who signs off on major decisions. William who's taking control of the monarchy's public image, and according to those close to the situation, William is done waiting for scandals to settle. He wants a monarchy that's clean, disciplined, and free from the constant drip of embarrassment. In his mind, the Sussex drama has gone on long enough. To Harry, this shift is terrifying because it means the brother he once turned to for protection is now the one holding the axe. While Harry races across the Atlantic, heading straight into confrontation, something far more calculated has been happening in London. Sources claim Prince William has quietly brought together a team of legal experts, the kind who specialize in constitutional clauses, royal precedents, and the rare conditions needed to strip royal titles. This isn't emotional. This isn't revenge. This is strategy. And the operation allegedly follows a step-by-step plan. Step 1. Use Prince Andrew as the legal test case. Not out of mercy, but to establish the official pathway for removing titles within the modern monarchy. Parliament previously said only the monarch could strip titles, but William wants that power available to the next monarch, too. Step 2. Once Andrew's situation sets the precedent, the same process can be applied to Harry and Meghan cleanly, legally, and without William ever appearing vindictive. It's cold. It's organized. It's a move that turns the royal family into something closer to a corporate boardroom than a household. And Harry knows that once this machine starts moving, it becomes almost impossible to stop, which is why he's rushing home before the paperwork becomes his final farewell. While Harry races through the night sky toward London, another storm has been brewing on the palace side of the world, one that has nothing to do with him, yet affects him more than he realizes. Sources say the moment that truly pushed William past the point of patience wasn't Harry, it was Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. For weeks, royal insiders whispered that the Epstein saga, the scandal many hoped had faded, was rising again. Only this time, the whispers are darker, heavier, and dangerously detailed. Word inside the palace corridors claims new emails may emerge connecting Andrew to Epstein, not just socially, but financially. And that's not all. Allegations resurfaced that Scotland Yard may have been influenced or used to discredit Virginia Roberts, one of Epstein's accusers. Even a sliver of this is true. It sends shock waves through the monarchy. Then comes Fergie, whose past dealings with Epstein are now being re-examined. Sources claim she may have accepted more than £2 million from him potentially over a long period, rumors. even suggest he provided quiet financial support that kept her lifestyle afloat for nearly 15 years. To William, this is not just scandal. This is rot inside the very walls of the institution he's destined to lead. He sees the monarchy losing credibility. He sees the newspapers circling like sharks. He sees the crown's reputation bleeding slowly, but steadily, and in that moment, William makes a decision that would define everything that follows. If the family won't clean up its mess, he will. That decision becomes the first domino in the chain that leads Harry back to London in fear when Harry learned that William wasn't just annoyed, but allegedly preparing formal paperwork. He snapped into a different mode altogether. Gone was the relaxed California father. Gone was the confident memoir writer. Gone was the outspoken royal rebel. What remained was a man in crisis. Sources claim he refused to communicate through staff, lawyers, or emails. He wanted to speak directly to William face-to-face before the decision became permanent. But William, according to those close to him, is not interested in emotional conversations. He wants proof, action, responsibility. One insider allegedly put it this way: William doesn't want an explanation. He wants an example. What does that mean? It means if Harry wants mercy, he must stop all public digs, pull or limit future memoir plans, distance himself from Meghan's commercial strategies, avoid using the royal name for media projects, return to being the quiet, disciplined royal he once was. In other words, he must undo the last 4 years of choices. He must shrink the spotlight he built. He must place the crown above his personal feelings again. And this is what terrifies him, because this is no longer a family disagreement. It's an ultimatum. Harry knows that William is not bluffing. He knows the legal process is moving. And he knows that once the palace removes your title, there is no coming back. That's why he gets on the jet. That's why he's flying home alone. That's why every mile toward London feels like a countdown. He is trying to save the last piece of who he used to be. While Harry's jet cuts through the night, one man sits alone in Buckingham Palace, staring at a stack of papers he never wanted to read. King Charles! And according to palace sources, he looks like a man carrying two crowns. The one on his head and the one made of family pain. Behind closed doors, Charles is fighting a battle no one can see. He is battling illness. He is battling stress. And he is battling the reality that his sons, once inseparable, now stand on opposite sides of a royal war. To his left, the weight of tradition. To his right, the ache of a father who still sees Harry as the boy who lost his mother and lost his way. But the pressure on Charles is heavier than love. Sources say senior government officials have quietly warned him that the monarchy cannot endure another public crisis. Not another scandal, not another hit to credibility, not another moment where the crown is dragged through headlines instead of history books. They are watching, waiting, growing impatient. Waiting, growing impatient. If Charles does not stabilize the image of the monarchy, the government may step in with constitutional force, a nightmare scenario for any king. So he looks at William, strong, decisive, steady, and he looks at Harry, emotional, unpredictable, forever tied to controversy. And in that painful divide, Charles understands the truth every monarch eventually learns. The crown survives only when the individual sacrifices. He knows what he must choose. But it doesn't make it easier. As Harry's plane descends toward London, he isn't just fighting for his dignity. He's fighting for his family's future. Because if the titles are removed, everything changes. The Duke of Sussex becomes Henry Charles Albert David Mountbatten Windsor, a name that feels more like paperwork than a legacy. Meghan becomes Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor, losing the status that fueled her global branding. And the children, Archie and Leet, lose their prince and princess identities, the symbolic protection they were born into. But the fallout isn't just emotional, it's financial. Those massive book deals signed because he was a prince. The Netflix contracts bought because the world wanted the couple who stepped away from royalty. The partnerships, speeches, appearances, all wrapped in one thing: the shine of their royal name. If the titles vanish, their entire brand loses its magic. And in entertainment, once the shine fades, so does the paycheck. Security risks rise, invitations shrink, their influence settles. As one palace aide allegedly put it, without their titles, they become just another celebrity couple with a podcast and a past. And that is Harry's greatest fear. Not the money, not Thefum, the eraser, the idea that the world he was born into, the world his children should have inherited, could disappear with one stroke of a pen. Morning breaks over Buckingham Palace. Golden light spills across the stone walls as guards shift into their new positions. The world outside is waking up, but inside a new era has already begun. William stands in his office, not as the younger brother, not as the heir, but as the man who reshaped the monarchy with his own hands. He has done what others were too frightened to do. He has cut away the chaos. He has removed the threats. He has shielded the crown with cold precision. Sources say he doesn't celebrate. He doesn't smile. He doesn't even look relieved. He looks ready. Ready for the throne long before it becomes official. Ready to lead with steel instead of sentiment. Ready to protect the monarchy even if it means breaking the last pieces of his family. Across the ocean, Harry wakes up in a different world. A world where the dynasty he belonged to has moved on without him. Where the doors he once walked through are now locked. Where the titles that shaped his identity have vanished. But here's the twist. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of a new royal era. An era where William rises as the cold architect of a stronger monarchy. An era where Charles clings to peace, but watches the future pass to his son. An era where Harry must find out who he is without the crown he once escaped from, but now desperately wants a piece of again. Because in the House of Windsor, power doesn't whisper, it reigns, and William, steady hands, sharp mind, ice in his veins, has just proven one thing. He isn't waiting for the crown, he's already wearing it.